Welcome students to the video Understanding the Quiz Assignment. This video will clarify parts of the assignment. It's taken from the instructions that are in the assignments folder on the course site. The quiz project is worth 15% of your grade and it's due March 22nd. And what you're going to do is develop your own quiz. This should be a quiz that will be aligned to a standard, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Your quiz must be at a second grade level or higher. So if I get a preschool quiz, a kindergarten or first grade quiz, I'm going to send it back to you and say you need to redo it. And the reason for this is twofold. First is not every student can read at those levels. And also, it's really not developmentally appropriate to be quizzing very young students. So if you are an early childhood person, you'll be certified up through second grade. So you need to know how to give quizzes, and you should target your quiz to a second grade level. Your quiz should be completely your own. We'll get into the details of that at the end of this presentation, but you shouldn't use a quiz or portions of a quiz from the internet or another source. I know that when you get your own classrooms, you'll be able to find quizzes on the internet, but that's not the purpose of this assignment. The purpose of this assignment is to help you understand what a good quiz looks like and how hard it is to make one up. The quiz should be aligned with a learning standard and a learning target, not a learning objective. And we've learned that the difference between those two is that a target has a target for success, for example, with 80% accuracy. You may use the same standard and target that you used for your EdTPA assignment, but you do not have to. Your quiz should contain specifically the following types of questions and items: 10 multiple choice, 3 binary, so we're learning that binary means true, false, or fact, opinion, any kind of question that has only 2 choices. 1 matching with 4 or more premises. So remember, premises are the words on the left. So you need at least 4 premises on the left. And then it's good practice to put more than that on the right. So you tell students that there are more answers than can be matched, or something like that. 1 constructed response consisting of a short answer or essay. So don't use fill in the blank, use short answer or essay for your constructive response. In addition to your quiz itself, there are some things you also need to include. We're learning how to do the Flesch-Kincaid reading level and readability analysis. So you're going to run that just on the quiz portion, what you would give to students, not on your paper itself with the reflection and other parts, but just the quiz part. I need to see what your reading level is and your readability analysis. Your reading level should be plus or minus 1 grade level. So let's say you're doing a 4th grade standard. Your reading level for your quiz needs to come in between grades 3 and 5. Reading ease, that tells you, if you remember, how easy it is to read the text, and that needs to be at 60% or higher. You'll also include an answer key with the answers to each item. So you could do this by highlighting the item choice, or by providing a separate answer key. That's the way a lot of students like to do it. A rationale for choosing the types of items you selected based on best practices in crafting assessments. For example, that is, explain why you selected multiple choice in some instances and matching in others. Why did you select to make certain items multiple choice? Why did you make others true, false? Review the textbook for when you would select each type of item, and be sure to justify your choices with citations from the textbook. If you do not, you will lose points. So this is an area that students really struggle with. So as you're getting started, I would suggest that you look at the chapters on the selected response items, and specifically see when your author talks about when you should use multiple choice and when you should use true false, when you should use matching. And so instead of going at it backwards, coming up with the questions and then trying to dig in the textbook for a reason, start with the textbook and read through that information about when you use each type of question and jot down notes. And then make your questions fit the rationale. It's a more logical way, and this section will turn out better if you do it that way. Here are some strategies for success. Start with an appropriate standard, write your learning targets, and then decide how to assess those learning targets. Remember that standards, learning targets, and all items must be aligned. They must measure the same content, knowledge, or skill. That's been the same throughout the course. Use general best practices. So these may be found in the tip sheets. You have 2 tip sheets, one for selected response, one for constructive response. These are in the weekly learning modules that we're doing, and they're also in the assignments folder. Read through those as you're writing your questions. And then at the end, go through the tips again and make sure your questions follow the best practices and the tips. For example, one of the areas that students forget most often is to alphabetize multiple choice responses. And so that's in the tip sheet, and that's something that you could very easily see whether you have done or not. Take your test. Sometimes you find errors by doing this, and even better, if you have someone in your life that's the age that you're targeting with this quiz, have that child take the test and give you feedback. Have peers read over your test for validity, grammar, spelling, etc. And this last bullet is probably the most important one. Do not wait until the last minute. Creating a strong test takes time, concentration, and practice. And many times in the reflection, when students write about this experience, they will reflect on the idea that it was harder than they thought. So don't put it off until the last minute. Here is your grading scale for the quiz project. I'm going to be looking to see that you have 15 items and an answer key, that you have 10 multiple choice, 3 binary, a matching with 4 or more premises, a constructive response in the form of a short answer or essay. I'll be looking at the quality of your items. This is about the tip sheet and whether things are spelled correctly, use correct grammar, whether it's appropriate for the grade level and aligned. I'll be looking at your reading levels, your readability analysis. I'll be looking at your overall test layout and construction. So are you using an appropriate size font? Remember, large fonts for for younger children, smaller fonts for larger or for older students. Visually appealing, is everything lined up? And finally, your well-supported rationale that's not just an opinion, but specifically contains citations defending your use of types of questions such as multiple choice and true false for the type of question you had. I want to spend just another moment. This must be your own work. So what's happened in the past is students have either gone out on the internet and found a quiz. I don't do that because I will find that. I check carefully and I use Safe Assign. But then other times students have forgotten that they've gotten a quiz or portions of a quiz off the internet. And they say, well, I'm a TA and I've been using this and my teacher gave it to me, or I've been using this for years and I came up with it. But then when I do a search, it finds a 100% match or a 75% match. Don't get caught in that. Don't even look at what you've been using. Start from scratch and create your own quiz that's aligned appropriately. If I do find a match, the kindest thing that will happen is that you'll have to redo it. But by all there is a plagiarism policy, and I do have the right to fail you for that assignment. I don't like to do that, so let's all avoid that. Use the tip sheet, as I've said, the 2 tip sheets. I can't stress this enough. Some people don't look at them, and then I'll get a quiz and you'll get it back red line with lots and lots of comments, and you'll have to go back and redo it anyway. So start by looking at the 2 tip sheets, follow best practices, choose a standard, align your learning target with it. Don't use previous work, and this should turn out well. So good luck, everybody. As always, if you have questions, please let me know.